shall be deemed to have been read a second time on division and referred to the Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights.
Ceux qui s'opposent à ce que l'honorable...
Will all those opposed to what the honourable member is moving please say nay?
Motion. All those opposed to the motion will please say nay. Carried.
Second reading of this bill, deuxième lecture de ce projet de loi.
Accordingly, the bill stands referred to the Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights. Statements by members. Déclaration de député. The honourable member for Beaches, East York.
Mr. Speaker, for the past 10 years, Aurora House has provided safe transitional housing and critical supports quietly, intentionally, and necessarily from a confidential location in Beaches, East York for women and families who have experienced human trafficking, exploitation, and gender-based intimate partner violence. Operated by the Mennonite New Life Center, Aurora House residents regain their footing with the support of a deeply dedicated team that provides trauma-informed care and the tools needed to heal and rebuild lives. However, the important work they do is at risk. As Aaron Horrocks-Pope, project manager for Aurora House, put it, as charitable giving declines and competition among many deserving organizations increases, the work they do has become, though no less critical, increasingly difficult to sustain. Late last year, Aurora House launched a new campaign, Safety, Dignity, Stability, to raise $100,000 for urgent capital upgrades and maintain operations that support families 365 days a year. I'm confident our East End community will step up to support Aurora House's life-saving work, ensuring women and children fleeing violence have a safe and dignified place to rebuild their lives.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
The honourable member for Northumberland, Clark.
Ronald Reagan once said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We don't pass it through our bloodstream. It has to be fought for. And that's exactly what the brave protesters in Iran are doing right now.
Hear.
It's hard through the obscurity of internet and telecommunications blackouts to see exactly what's going on in Iran. But media and human rights organizations put the death toll at over 30,000. We simply cannot afford to turn a blind eye to the atrocities that are occurring right now in Iran. A government that slaughters its own people is weak, pathetic, and must be stood up against you.
Absolutely.
That's why we all must stand unequivocally behind the people of Iran for their freedom.
Hear,
freedom!
hear.
Freedom!
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Fleetwood, Port Kells.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to draw attention to a serious issue in Fleetwood, Port Cal. With the number of extortion cases on the rise, I met with constituents and shared their concern about extortion and intimidation in Surrey. No one should live in fear for their safety or their livelihood. These acts undermine trust, threaten community well-being, place strain on those who are trying to build a better life. I want my constituents to know that their voices have been heard. Addressing extortions requires strong cooperation between government and community leaders. I will continue working to support community safety and to ensure that those responsible are held accountable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Thornhill.
The voice of freedom is rising as the brave warriors roar like lions and shine like the sun, determined to reclaim their country and topple the murderous regime in Iran. Sometimes that voice is loud when 150,000 people filled the streets of Toronto demanding justice, accountability, and human rights from the birthplace of modern civilization. And sometimes it's quieter, whispered in the candlelight vigils, carried in silent prayer for those fearing for their loved ones at home. We face a choice: answer the call for action or let it fall on deaf ears, and this government has chosen inaction. To those fighting for freedom and democracy, keep going everywhere around the world. The day will come when the regime falls and the Iranian people are free to live in their homeland. Until then, we will not be silent. We will not look away. We will never stop fighting for a free Iran and a Canada strong and free of the IRGC agents that they let into our communities.
L'honorable député de Brome.
The honourable member for Brome-Missisquoi. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to highlight an important celebration taking place this year in my riding, the 150th anniversary of the town of Cowansville, which is being celebrated under the leadership of the town's mayor, Sylvie Beauregard. Collinsville was founded in 1876. It is a dynamic community known for innovation, solidarity, and civic participation. Throughout this year, residents are gathering to celebrate their history and the contributions of the generations that helped shape their town. This anniversary is also an opportunity to remember a momentous event in our national history. In the 1960s, the Cowansville company Brock Mills produced the first prototypes of the Canadian flag, which was officially adopted in 1965. This example illustrates just how important local contributions are to Canada's history. I wish the community of Cowansville and all of its residents a great celebration of their 150th anniversary.
Go in.
20 years ago, Canada elected a new Conservative government led by Prime Minister Stephen Harper. The Harper legacy is one of true progress. Our government cut virtually every tax Canadians pay. We negotiated a record number of trade deals more critical now than ever. We navigated a global economic meltdown guided by the world-leading Harper-Flaherty Economic Action Plan. We introduced the Muskoka Initiative, widely recognized as one of the most impactful G7, G8 initiatives of all time. We launched life-changing programs like the Registered Disability Savings Plan and the Ready, Willing, and Able Employment Program. By 2015, Canada had a balanced budget and, according to the New York Times, the richest middle class in the world. Today, that era may seem like a distant memory, but the story of our strong, principled Conservative legacy offers Canadians hope for a better future, a future guided by another strong, principled Conservative leader. We've done this before, and we can do it again.
Here, here.
Ready to go.
The honourable member for St. Catharines.
Mr. Speaker, ALS is a progressive neurological disease with no cure. Nearly 4,000 Canadians are currently living with ALS, and each year about 1,000 more will be diagnosed, while another 1,000 will lose their lives to this devastating illness. An ALS diagnosis is life-changing for patients and their loved ones. I recently met with my constituent, Christopher May, who was recently diagnosed. Despite the challenges ahead, Chris remains hopeful. Hopeful because Canada is home to world-class researchers and clinicians dedicated to improving treatment, care, and outcomes for people living with ALS. We have the expertise and the capacity to lead by strengthening national research efforts and supporting collaboration across institutions and sectors. We can accelerate discovery and expand access to clinical trials. Investing in ALS research is an investment in innovation, in better health outcomes, and in hope for families across the country. Together, we can work forward towards a future free of ALS.
The honourable member for Souris Moose Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the Finance Minister promised Canadians he would stabilize food prices at his flashy grocery summit. Since then, prices have gone up significantly. Lettuce is up nearly 40%, coffee 33%, and beef 27%, just to name a few. Canada is now leading the G7 in food inflation at 6.2%. It's now twice as high as when the Prime Minister took office and twice as high as the United States. And it gets worse. Canadians are now making 2.2 million visits a month to food banks, which has doubled under this Liberal government. Instead of working to reduce food costs, the Minister is announcing yet another temporary rebate, giving some about $10 a week against grocery bills that are in the hundreds. The Liberals need to support our Conservative affordability plan, one that eliminates the industrial carbon tax and their 17 cents a litre standards fuel tax. It's time that these Liberals turn their rhetoric into results for Canadians.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Drummond. Mr. Speaker, let's honour the departure of an Alouette who is such a champion. Marc-Antoine Decoy is retiring after making history with the Montreal Alouettes, a defensive back on the team that won the 2023 Grey Cup against all odds. Marc-Antoine has recently become more known to the general public through TV. The charismatic former Carabin has shown that he's as comfortable in front of the camera as he is in the fourth quarter of a tough game. He was the Alouette ambassador for Quebecers, part of a team that makes a real effort to promote the French language in a unilingual English environment. It would be impossible to forget his heartfelt call during the Grey Cup in defense of his team, but also of all Quebecers. They won a Canadian championship in English only. He stated loud and clear what all Francophones were thinking in a speech that could just as well have summed up the history of Quebec. They never believed in us, but you know what, man? Keep your English.
The honourable member for Burlington.
Speaker, did you watch an NHL game last night? Or how about watch the House of Commons this past week? If so, you did so thanks to technology developed and built in Burlington, Ontario. For decades, Evertz has helped shape how the world sees and understands major moments. The company has enabled news and live events to reach audiences in real time. And behind that success are about 1,800 Canadian workers whose expertise is driving change across the industry. In January, I had the chance to tour their Burlington manufacturing facility and global headquarters to see firsthand how Canadian ingenuity, technology, and skill is shaping the global media landscape. They are Canadian first, a fully sovereign company at a time when that matters more than ever. So to my colleagues in this place, every time you look into one of these cameras and speak to your constituents, know that you're doing so with technology developed and built in Burlington, Ontario.
The Honourable Member for Calgary-McKnight.
Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the Finance Minister promised to stabilize food prices. But since then, the price of lettuce is up 39%, coffee is up 33%, beef up 27%, baby formula up 13%, and even canned vegetables are up 12%. Canada now leads all G7 countries in food inflation and has over 2 million food bank visits each month. Food inflation is twice as high as when the Prime Minister took office. The industrial carbon tax and the liberal fuel standard tax are driving up costs of farm equipment, fertilizers, food processing, and transport, and passing the bill down to Canadians at the grocery store. Since they have no real plan to lower food costs, will the Liberals support our motion to introduce a food affordability plan that eliminates the industrial carbon tax and the fuel standard tax?
Honourable Member for New Westminster, Burnaby, Mallardville.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honour the life and passing of my grandfather, Jacob Sawatsky Sr., whose story embodies the very best of Canada. Born in Ukraine, he survived the Holodomor famine and Stalin's Great Terror, where his father was killed and many others in the family. At 16, he fled his village to find a new life. All he had was a bag of dry bread that his mother gave him. He arrived in Canada alone, speaking no English, with little education. Canada gave him refuge, and he gave back. While working in a factory, he learned English, went back to school, earned a science degree from UBC. He then taught math and physics for nearly 3 decades, shaping generations of young Canadians. Today, I wear his old tie in the chamber as a tribute to his values. He was proud of his family and forever grateful for a country where he could build a new life. Rest in peace, Jacob Sawatsky Sr. You will not be forgotten.
The Honourable Member for Medicine Hat, Cardston, Warner.
The Liberals are moving forward with their gun confiscation scheme, while at the same time the Public Safety Minister admits he can't explain the logic of his own policy, that more than $700 million will be wasted, and acknowledges that law-abiding gun owners are not the problem. Criminals using illegal guns are. Trudeau Liberals promised fair compensation, but now the program is capped. Valuations are half of before, and only about 15% of the more than 2 million guns actually are expected to be compensated. This government continues to target the wrong people, despite the majority of Canada's provinces and territories and most law enforcement agencies officially rejecting any role in enforcing this misguided policy, meaning there are no one to even collect these guns. Gun crime is up 130%, while the Liberals fail to secure the border, reduce penalties for gun crimes, and allow repeat offenders back on the streets. It's time for this government to scrap this wasteful, politically motivated, ideological program and invest in real public safety.
The Honourable Member for Oakville West.
Mr. Speaker, it's with great sadness that I rise to honour the life and legacy of Department Captain Stuart Campbell of Oakville Fire Department, who has passed away at the age of 56 after a courageous battle with occupational cancer. Captain Stu has served the Oakville community for more than 30 years, spanning most of his career at the Bronte Fire Station. He served with pride, courage, compassion, unity, and honor, showing an unwavering commitment to his brothers and sisters at the Oakville Fire Department. His passing is a reminder of dangers and occupational risk of our first responders face in the line of duty, and our duty in turn to ensure the safety of our first responders. On behalf of the people of Oakville West, I thank Captain Stuart Campbell for his service and mentorship to the community. You will be remembered. To Stuart's wife and his 2 daughters, and to all who loved him, I offer my deepest condolences. Please know that his service, sacrifice, and legacy will never be forgotten by this community. Thank you.
The honourable member for Quebec-Matquac.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are a resilient people who believe that if they work hard, care for their neighbours, and contribute to their communities, they should be able to build a good life. Canadians are now feeling overwhelmed and weighed down, wondering how they will afford a home, put food on the table, or plan for tomorrow, but hope is not lost. It is found in our foundations as a nation, in the shared values that bind us together, in the enduring belief that a better country is built through hard work, good policy, and steady leadership. Conservatives are united by our belief in a shared dignity and opportunity. We believe government should let Canadians thrive. We need to let the farmers farm, let the producers produce, and let the workers work. Those are the very ones that help to build this country, and they will be key to our nation's comeback. And when this House puts forward serious, effective ideas that truly help Canadians, Conservatives will work in good faith to fast-track those results. Because we believe in Canada, we will always put our fellow Canadians ahead.
The honourable member for Pierre-Saint-Dollard.
Mr. Speaker, this February marks 30 years of Black History Month in Canada. We reflect on the historic barriers Black communities have faced in North America. We recognize the sacrifices made during the Civil Rights Movement. Grâce à elles et eux, nous avons aujourd'hui.
Thanks to them, today we have essential rights and freedoms.
We have many representatives for my riding: WIPCA, Youth Stars, Overture for the Arts, Playmass, and many others. Merci pour votre contribution à notre...
Thank you for your indelible contribution to our community. The leaders of these groups and other groups are mentors for future generations.
They empower the next generation of Black leaders, and they pass on the legacy of giants who came before them. This work can't be done alone. J'encourage toutes...
I encourage everyone to participate.
Help youth dream big and reach their full potential. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oral questions, questions orales.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Aubinière. Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the current Minister of Finance promised firmly and with great enthusiasm to stabilize food prices. But this has been a great spectacle, but it didn't really give much results. Since then, prices are up, and the current PM said he'd be judged by prices at the grocery store, but it's a failure. Canada now leads the G7 in food inflation. No prices are going down. His plan isn't working. Why should Canadians believe this Prime Minister when the last Liberal plan led to the worst food inflation in the G7? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, today, even this House will probably make the decision to send a bill to the Senate that will provide assistance up to $1,800 to families in Canada to help them with the issue of affordability, and notably in terms of grocery prices, groceries and essentials. We would invite the official opposition to support us in this. We are very happy that they said they would do so, and today's a historical day for affordability in Canada. The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable, historic day for affordability. No grocery prices are going down, and this GST credit isn't going to make things affordable. This means we have to bring prices down on groceries. Will they do this? They'll be giving a $10 coupon, in fact, for $300 for families. Mr. Speaker, most Canadians won't get anything this afternoon. Since they don't seem to be having any ideas, will they vote for our plan to make groceries affordable? The Honourable Minister of Industry. Mr. Speaker, good news today. the Conservatives will vote in favor of our plan to help everyday Canadians to pay groceries, an important plan that will make sure that they'll receive $1,800 per family across our country for the most vulnerable families. So I'd like to thank the Conservatives for seeing the light finally and to recognize that our plan is working.
Honourable member for Chilliwack Hope.
The Finance Minister promised 3 years ago that he had a plan to lower food prices. Well, how's that working out? Since then, the cost of groceries has skyrocketed, with the price of lettuce up 40%, coffee up over 30%, the price of beef up over 25%. The recycled plan for a temporary rebate won't reduce the cost of a single item of food. Their plan has failed. So why don't the Liberals support our food affordability plan to axe the industrial carbon tax, cut the fuel standards tax, and boost competition in grocery stores to lower food prices for all Canadians?
Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, today is a big day. Today is the day where, if all goes well, we will be passing historic assistance for Canadian families grappling with affordability issues with respect to food and essential goods. And after much cajoling, the opposition finally decided to stop the games, stop the obstruction, and to allow this bill to move on to the Senate so we can get that aid to Canadian families now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Chilliwack Hope.
Most Canadians will get no benefit from this recycled plan. A small number will get about $10 a week, but that won't make a dent in the over $340 a week a family of four has to spend to buy groceries. The Finance Minister promised he would bring down grocery prices 3 years ago. He failed then, he's failing again. Their plan isn't working, so why don't they vote for our food affordability plan to cut the industrial carbon tax, axe the fuel standards tax, and finally lower grocery prices for all Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, last fall, all these Conservatives did was quote Food Bank Canada. Over and over and over, they talked about Food Bank Canada. They failed to notice that Food Bank Canada recommended exactly what we are doing right now, which is put more money in the pockets of those that need it the most. And yet they say, well, they want to cooperate. Can they stop obstructing legislation that is helping Canadians get ahead? They need to be partners in this work, Mr. Speaker. Canadians certainly are stepping up for each other. Why can't they step up for their constituents?
The honourable member for Newtecumseh-Gwillimbury.
Mr. Speaker, news reports this week confirm what Canadians already know. Our economy is on life support. Because of Liberal mismanagement, we've had 2 consecutive quarters of zero economic growth. While our GDP is stagnant, grocery inflation keeps climbing. This year will cost $17,600 to feed a family of 4, nearly $1,000 more than it did in 2025. Why is it under these Liberals the only thing rising is the price of food?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, since September, we've created 189,000 jobs. Great news for Canada. That is more jobs created in Canada than in the U.S. We have the second fastest growing economy. And let me give you examples. Alstom, 240 new jobs at Thunder Bay. 150 new jobs at Saint-Bruno de Montarville. 100 new jobs in La Pocatière. 330 new jobs at Bombardier. 300 new jobs at Valley Glencore, Sudbury. Bynoe, St. Thomas, Ontario, Conservative riding. 300 new jobs.
The honourable member for Newtecumseh-Gwillimbury.
Mr. Speaker, this government could talk a glass eye to sleep, but it's the Liberals who need to wake up. Do they need to see how many more Canadians are on the street shaking a coffee cup for change? This government refuses to take the tax off food. They refuse to boost competition, and they refuse to deliver a real plan for food affordability. Their rebate won't reduce the price of a single item at their grocery store. Will they support our food affordability plan and deliver some real relief for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, the average family is saving $16,000 a year on childcare. You know who refuses to support young families with the cost of living? The Conservatives across the aisle. Mr. Speaker, families are saving $800 a year in food costs for their children at school. You know who refuses to feed hungry children at school, Mr. Speaker? The Conservatives. Mr. Speaker, every step we take, they obstruct. They get in the way of the very things that not only experts are calling for, but their very own constituents. When will they get in line?
The Honourable Member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, some retirees have not received their old age pensions for 9 months because of the CRM software, and the government's ignoring them. Today, they're not the only ones being ignored. The government is also ignoring the opinions of its own civil servants. In an internal survey, more than half of them rated the software 1 out of 10. 89% of them believe that CRM has hindered rather than improved services for Canadians. When will the Liberals take their heads out of the sand and fix the problems? The Honourable Minister of Employment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The implementation of this new platform requires an adaptation period. We're working tirelessly to ensure that the personnel has the necessary tools to familiarize themselves with this new system and to provide benefits. If someone is having issues with this, they need to contact Service Canada and my office directly so we can respond to their demands. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, they have been sounding the alarm for months. And in a document provided by La Presse, the union says that CRM is causing problems similar to the Phoenix fiasco, but on a larger scale. And worse still, the union reports that a procedure clearly states that citizens must not be told that payment delays or errors are related to CRM. Mr. Speaker, has the government ordered civil servants to lie instead of fixing the problems? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. The problems related to old age security are over. More than 7,000 seniors are now receiving their payments. They're trying to cover 4 distinct projects. This is the amount set out and approved for the length of this project. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Shefford. Mr. Speaker, some retirees have been waiting for their old age pensions for 9 months. And meanwhile, we learn that not only is this government pretending that everything's fine, and not only it's not telling the truth to the media or answering our questions, but it is asking its officials to lie to citizens and tell them that their problems have nothing to do with the CRM software. Mr. Speaker, what should be the Liberals' priority? Helping retirees or protecting their own backsides?
Attention.
Be careful. Decorum, please. The Honourable Minister of Employment and Families. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our cabinet did reach out to the member across the way, but we did not receive a reply. If they have urgent cases to be resolved, I would ask them to contact me so we can reply to them. I'm ready to help out their constituents. Thank you.
For King Vaughan.
Seniors built this country, and now they must make the tough decisions between buying groceries or medication. They can't absorb these costs, and they can't afford to skip meals. 3 years ago, the finance minister promised to stabilize food prices. Another broken promise. Canada has the worst food inflation in the G7. The Conservatives have the solution. Cut the industrial carbon tax, cut the fuel standard tax, give the supermarkets genuine competition. Will the Liberals adopt our proposals and demonstrate empathy for our seniors so they can live in dignity?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
to know why we're not adopting their plan, the answer is simple. The only person that thinks it's going to work is their leader. We are following the advice of Food Banks Canada. We are following the advices of experts. And let me tell you what seniors are saying. Dava Houston says, seeing a lot of talk about the grocery rebate helping no one. As a senior, I disagree. This benefit is specifically targeted to help those of us on fixed incomes navigate high food prices. It's a floor for people who built this country and need it. At least they could stop talking it down.
The honourable member for King Vaughan.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' recycled rebate does not address the high cost of groceries. Some seniors will only receive $10 a week, which is less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, which is up 33.6%. The $10 savings is like receiving another coupon. This rebate is an admission of the failed policies of this Liberal government and won't change much for our seniors. So again, I will ask the government, will they take our proposal and use it to ensure our seniors can live in dignity?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
You know what will make a real difference in fighting food insecurity, Mr. Speaker? Ensuring that seniors have the money in their pockets that they need to be able to buy groceries, to be able to buy toilet paper and coffee and these kinds of items over which the government has no control. We are controlling what we can, and that is ensuring that seniors have the money that they need to afford the essentials they need. That is also why we are ensuring that 1 million lower-income Canadians can access the benefits that they're entitled to with automatic tax filing. We are ensuring that older Canadians get the money they need through the essentials.
I can hear the honourable member from Vernon, but maybe we could keep it down. The honourable member for Calgary Signal Hill.
Mr. Speaker, while Liberals talk about elbows up, average Canadians see only the price of groceries up. Food price inflation has doubled since this Prime Minister took office. The percentage of seniors using food banks is up 22% over 5 years, forcing seniors to choose between meals and medication. Conservatives want results. Will the Prime Minister work with us to boost competition in grocery chains and eliminate the industrial carbon tax and the fuel standards tax to bring food prices down?
The Honourable Minister for Emergency Management and Community Resilience.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have spent the last 2 months going on and on talking about food banks, but they really need to listen to them. I was in Edmonton last weekend, and I met with people on the ground at food banks, and they were praising the Prime Minister's announcement and saying what a huge benefit it would be to people actually on the ground in ridings in Alberta, including Conservative ridings. Conservatives should support a benefit that will help 1.3 million Albertans, including those in Conservative ridings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, the grocery inflation crisis is tearing apart families and tearing apart our communities. I received a letter from a senior citizen in Cambridge whose son had to move back home because he couldn't afford the cost of living. He wants to get married, but can't even move out of his mom's home to buy his own, start a family, have children, and be able to feed them. With lettuce up 40%, beef up nearly 30%, and canned vegetables up over 10%, there's simply no money left for anything else in life. This government's been all sizzle and no steak when it comes to food affordability. When will this Liberal government stop with the empty words and start cooking up some real solutions to bring down the price of groceries?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, if the challenge is complex, real leadership meets it with more, not less.
That's right.
That's why when it comes to food inflation, Canada's new government is doing more. We're building long-term solutions to pricing pressures and making sure that Canadians get the real relief that they need right now.
That's right.
We're building stronger, more resilient supply chains and increasing domestic supply and production to ensure that additional costs are not passed on to the consumer. That will take time, Mr. Speaker, but while we're doing that, we're also going to make sure that Canadians get 5 years of support, over $1,890 a month for a family.
The honourable member for Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the finance minister promised to stabilize food prices. He failed. Since then, lettuce is up 40%, beef is up 27%, baby formula is up 14%. Canada has the highest food inflation in the G7. 2.2 million Canadians are visiting food banks every month. Canadians are struggling. We want results. Will the Liberals support our motion for a food affordability plan that removes industrial carbon tax, fuel standard tax, and increases competition in grocery stores? Yes or no?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Mr. Speaker, they've mentioned beef, they've mentioned coffee, fruits, and vegetables. The Bank of Canada has affirmed what we already know. They made clear that import costs are crucial when it comes to food inflation. And which kind of import costs in particular? Climate change, Mr. Speaker. Dramatic weather events around the world and domestically. It's obvious, Mr. Speaker, when you have more flooding, when you have more droughts, it affects food production. It affects the size of livestock as well. Mr. Speaker, let's be serious about the solutions at hand. Let's work together to build up the economy. Canadians expect it. Let's meet this moment right now.
The honourable member for Portneuf, Jacques Cartier. Mr. Speaker, I invite the Liberal government to talk to Canadians to find out how much the cost of living is hurting them. The Minister of Finance promised to stabilize food prices 3 years ago, but his plan did not work. Food inflation has never been higher in Canada. It's twice as high as in the U.S. They need to stop making excuses. And here's the solution from the Conservatives, our affordability plan. Will the Liberal government support it and finally take action to help Canadians? The Honourable Secretary of State. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we'll be voting at third reading for the Canadian Grocery and Essentials rebate, and I'm really happy we'll be working together for Canadians with this measure. And it will give a family of four $1,800 back, and that is giving them purchasing power and allowing families and not manufacturers or grocery stores. It'll allow families to decide for themselves. That's what Canadians want. They want to have the choice. And thank you for your support. The honourable member for Lévis-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, the Minister of Finance promised to stabilize food prices. Since then, the price of lettuce is up by 40%. Price of coffee is up 34%, and price of beef is up 27%. Mr. Speaker, instead of lowering costs, the Liberals have been putting another Band-Aid on the problem with another temporary rebate. Well, the Liberals finally reversed this trend by supporting our Conservative motion, which eliminates the industrial carbon tax, abolishes the fuel standards tax, and strengthens competition in grocery stores. The Honourable Secretary of State. Mr. Speaker, it's fundamental for the choice to be up to Canadians. And it's so important that we're not only working to approve this grocery rebate, but we're also rebuilding our economy to tackle this trade war that we never hear them talk about. So this is a whole system that we're tackling to give back purchasing power to Canadians, and we have to do this together. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The honourable member for Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagot-Acton. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister placed great emphasis on diversifying trade at Davos, and he was right to do so. Yet, he himself is blocking a trade agreement with Taiwan. Taiwan's representatives in Canada have confirmed that all pages of the agreement have been initialed by both parties, and the document is ready and printed in 3 languages. The only thing that's missing is a PM signature, and it's been stuck in his office for 9 months. Is Ottawa abandoning agreement with their reliable partner because they're afraid of their new Chinese friend? The Honourable Minister of Trade. Mr. Speaker, as my colleague has said, the government is determined to extend its trade partnerships across the world, and particularly in the Indo-Pacific. Canada and Taiwan have solid economic ties and tight ties while still being in line with our historic policy of One China, and we will continue to defend Canada's interests by diversifying our trade and by strengthening our ties with reliable partners across the world. The honourable member for Lac-Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, Taiwan is a reliable partner, a democracy, and a market economy. It's a leader in green tech and AI, among other areas, where fields where trade would benefit Quebec. And it's the sixth largest economy in Asia. It's exactly the type of middle power that Canada should be joining forces with to counter the hegemony of giants, according to the PM's speech at Davos. But yet he himself is blocking the agreement with Taiwan in order to court China. Mr. Speaker, why is the Prime Minister doing exactly the opposite of what he said at Davos?
The Honourable Minister of International Trade.
Expanding our partnership around the world, including in the Indo-Pacific, Canada and Taiwan enjoy a strong economic and people-to-people ties consistent with our long-standing One China policy. We will continue to stand up for Canadian interests as we diversify trade and strengthen relationships with reliable trading partners around the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Brant South, Six Nations.
Well, Mr. Speaker, here we go again. This time in Guelph, police warned the community of a high-risk offender with a history of violence and breaching court orders was released after pleading guilty to breaching probation. Wow. Police said he posed a danger, especially to women, but less than 2 hours later, he was arrested again. Wow. This is weak Liberal bail law in action. Once again, the Liberals' principle of restraint put a dangerous offender back on the street. Will the Prime Minister finally take public safety seriously and repeal C5 and 75?
Good question.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to look at what's in front of us right now as we speak, Mr. Speaker. We have a number of very important legislation that will address just the issue that my friend opposite brought forward. There's Bill C-12 that's going through the Senate, Mr. Speaker. There's Bill C-9. There's Bill C-14, which speaks to bail reform as well as ensuring that there's consecutive sentencing, and there's also Bill C-16. Again, I ask the members opposite to pass this legislation and make sure this becomes law.
Yeah. The Honourable Member for Brantford, Brant South, Six Nations.
Mr. Speaker, this dangerous release happened for only one reason. Liberal soft on crime laws are still on the books, and this government refuses to repeal them. True. Time after time, Liberal laws put repeat violent offenders back on the street, ignore police warnings, and put Canadians in harm's way. Conservatives, on the other hand, are ready to work with anyone in this House to put public safety first and end these dangerous policies. 100%. Will the Prime Minister finally get serious about public safety and work with us to repeal these laws? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Dangerous people who commit serious crimes should not be allowed to roam freely in our streets where they can reoffend. Now, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister can start again.
Mr. Speaker, they're going to regret their applause in a moment, I can assure you. And it's because when the member posed the question, he blamed the principle of restraint. Let me tell you something about the principle of restraint. That is the subject of a change in Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, that the Conservatives have been obstructing for months. Despite calls from law enforcement, from provincial governments, from municipalities, from experts in their field, they have been getting in the way.
This is supposed to be an exchange of ideas. The minister may continue with his answer.
Mr. Speaker, after months and months of obstructing bail reform in this country, we've finally seen a spirit of collaboration. My only hope is a spirit that their leader seemed to embody during his opening remarks at this session will be what carries the day instead of the nonsense we're seeing today in the House.
The Honourable Member for Central Newfoundland.
On January 22,
27th, Charlottetown police responded to a violent home invasion involving assault, an imitation firearm, and chemical irritant. 2 individuals known to the victims were arrested. One of the accused is facing multiple charges, including, with no surprise, failure to comply with conditions of release and probation. The Liberal soft-on-crime principle of restraint continues to put dangerous offenders back on the street. So will this government repeal C5 and C75 so that Canadians can once again feel safe in their home?
The Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, since taking government, we've had a tough on-crime agenda.
Right.
We have 6 different bills going through this House right now that are all tackling the situations that the member has been mentioning. It's been 8 months since we put in place C2, and we've been waiting on the Conservatives for their cooperation to pass lawful access measures, which would help police in their investigations. We've been asking for help on cracking down on fentanyl, Mr. Speaker, and tackling organized crime. But they've been stalling and they've been obstructing all along. I hope they'll get on board and work with us.
The honourable member for Vaughan Woodbridge.
Last week, a man in Woodbridge was gunned down in broad daylight. This week, a home in Vaughan was targeted for a shooting for the 4th time in 5 months. Now, the York Region Police Chief has said they will not participate in the federal Liberal government's gun grab because it does not address the underlying sources of gun crime. Most provinces and territories have opted out. Dozens of police services have now refused to participate. So, with little support from the police and provinces, will the Liberal government finally end this ideologically driven scheme and focus on stopping illegal guns and repeat violent offenders?
Good question. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, last week when the Prime Minister met with First Ministers across Canada, all 13 of them unanimously asked for this House to pass Bill C-14, Mr. Speaker. The party opposite is talking about tough on crime, but they refuse to pass the legislation that's required for bail reform. That's going to make consecutive sentences. That's going to ensure the safety and security of Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Enough talk and we need action, Mr. Speaker. I urge the party opposite to pass Bill C-14.
Honourable member for Long Range Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, while violent crime and extortion continue to rise across Canada, this government keeps targeting law-abiding Canadians instead of criminals. Most provinces and territories have told the government they will not participate in the Liberal gun buyback. In Newfoundland and Labrador, the Premier has been clear. The Liberals, and I quote, should focus on criminals, not law-abiding hunters and our way of life. Dozens of police services have said they will not help carry out this program. Even the minister responsible admitted in private this was a bad idea. Will the Liberals end this wasteful scheme, stop the gun grab that punishes law-abiding Canadians?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, like I said before, when it comes to food inflation as well, responsible governments do more. That is why we're also seeing an uptake and people wanting to surrender their prohibited weapons. Over 22,000 people have signed up to get their guns out of our communities. That's progress, Mr. Speaker, but also in addition to that, we've put major investments into our borders to catch illegal guns and get them off our streets. We've also put forward measures in our legislation to help the police catch criminals and help them with their investigations. But the Conservatives have been obstructing all of those measures, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask them to allow C2 to come to a vote.
The Honourable Member for Brampton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, from rank-and-file officers to police chiefs, law enforcement from across Canada has asked Parliament to quickly pass Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, to better address repeat violent offenders. From my own community of Brampton, Mayor Patrick Brown and Peel Regional Police commend the government for their work for listening to our communities. Can the Minister of Justice explain how Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, delivers on those requests and protects communities?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for her question and for her advocacy for stronger criminal laws to help protect her community. The reason that members of her community are commending this bill is because they see the feedback that they provided in the process reflected in the text of the bill. It was through feedback from law enforcement that we figured out how to best deal with violent repeat criminals when bail hearings come up. It was through engagement with provincial governments we better understood how we can improve the process in bail hearings and sentencing. I want to thank in particular Mayor Patrick Brown for his advocacy for tougher criminal laws. By working together with provinces, with municipalities and law enforcement, we can build safer communities for every Canadian.
Very good. The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Canada's economy is on life support and the country is in recession watch, Mr. Speaker. That is the international headlines in Bloomberg. GDP per capita was essentially flat in 2025, and the Bank of Canada expects just 1.1% growth next year. Businesses are postponing expansion, investment is forecast to be weak, and this is very bad news for Canada's jobs. We need a significant transformational plan, but none appears in this legislative agenda from this government. When will they introduce a plan to keep Canadians out of a recession, Mr. Speaker?
Le ministre de l'Industrie.
Speaker, I have a lot of time and respect for my colleague, but she's not referring to all the important data, because the data shows that there's been increase in wages year over year, 3.4%, while the inflation was at 2.4%. So basically, wages are increasing more than inflation. And at the same time, in December, the Bank of Canada maintained its interest rates to 2.25%, and the governor mentioned that the economy was proving resilient. We have created 189,000 jobs more than the U.S., Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
The bottom line is, Mr. Speaker, the threat of a recession is real, and nothing this government has done is going to address the economic issues we're facing. StatsCan reports manufacturing is being deeply impacted. In November alone, GDP fell 12.6% in the auto sector. That's thousands of layoffs already. Without significant action to grow the economy and protect Canadian jobs, Canada could very well fall into a recession. Conservatives have proposed lower taxes, removing barriers so that we can grow faster than ever, and cutting red tape. So when will the government see a real plan to ward off recession and protect Canadian jobs from this government?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians can't cast that Conservative leader's slogans. Last week, we announced a Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit that will put up to $1,900 in the pockets of working families. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we have a leader with world-class business and economic experience. Their leaders never had a job in the economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for York-Durham.
Economists said yesterday that the Canadian economy is on life support. And while the Liberals may clap like trained seals for lower rates, those lower rates are not resulting in more growth. Respectfully, a GST rebate will not revive this patient. The emissions cap, the shipping ban, and other anti-development laws are binding the hands of Canadians that would build our country. So why won't the Prime Minister have the courage to stand up and remove them?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister
Mr.
for Natural
Resources. Some good news. The CER just announced the Gordon to Taylorville pipeline is being built. The CER just announced support for the Sunrise pipeline. The pipe mill in Regina is opening to build pipe again. We are building Canada strong.
The honourable member for York-Durham.
The minister enjoys illusions because the Major Projects Office has not given approval to one project yet. Instead, let me give him some other news. BNN Bloomberg reported that my home province of Ontario is the sick man of Canada, with lower standards of living than anywhere else in the country. In fact, by every objective measure, Ontario is doing worse now than it did when the Prime Minister was elected. And that is increasingly because they cannot get a deal with the United States. That's a serious question, and it deserves a serious answer. Prime Minister, why is there no plan to deal with the U.S.?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I'll invite the member opposite to come to Darlington, where we're building the first SMRs in the G7, creating thousands of jobs, thousands of jobs, thousands of jobs. We are a leader. We are building Canada strong.
The Honourable Member for York Centre.
New research from Rosenberg says Canada's economy is on life support. Per capita GDP is falling, construction's flat, and the economy may shrink by 0.5%. Food inflation is out of control, and billions of dollars are fleeing south. Because of these Liberals, Canada is now on a recession watch. Conservatives are ready to work with the government to repeal anti-development laws to get our economy going. So will the Prime Minister work with us to build big and build quickly, or will his legacy be one of the worst economies in recent history?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I call on Conservatives, yes, to work with us, and we can work together for the betterment of this country, Mr. Speaker. What did we see yesterday? If they don't want to listen to Liberals, that's fine. They should listen to Prime Minister Harper, who called on us in a moment of crisis, a moment of rupture for this country, to do what's right for Canada. We have an opportunity. We saw the Conservatives support the Essentials benefit. Will they support now the budget that can support his community and mine and all of ours? It's up to them. What are we going to do?
Honourable member for York Central.
Almost a year since the election, the Prime Minister should be judged not by his words, but by his actions. He didn't get a trade deal. He doubled the deficit. No new pipelines approved. Interprovincial trade barriers remain. We have the highest food inflation in the G7 with 2.2 million Canadians at the food bank. We need to start building pipelines and sell Canadian energy.
Hear, hear.
So will the Prime Minister work with us to repeal Liberal anti-development laws, or will Canadians continue to suffer a Liberal economy that is on life support?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there's a plan in front of this House to create $1 trillion of investment in Canada. There's a plan before this House to continue to build the kind of infrastructure that my colleague just referred to. There's a plan before this House that would deregulate, that would free up, that would invest, that would make Canada the most attractive tax investment destination in the world. It's called the Budget Implementation Act. If we bring that bill today, will that party support it? Yes or no?
Honourable député de Louis.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint-Laurent, Kiwanrock. Mr. Speaker, the prestigious firm Bloomberg has said very clearly that the Canadian economy is on life support and that the country is in recession. That's Bloomberg saying that. In one of the articles, it says that on housing, if we look at recent years, residential housing spending has remained stagnant. Mr. Speaker, Canadians deserve better. We are ready to work with the government in order to lower inflationary taxes. Will this government do that for Canadians who want real results? The Honourable Minister. We are very pleased, Mr. Speaker, that our colleague is offering to work with the government in order to improve the economy, in order to ensure that we are a country with historic foreign investment and domestic investment, in order to create a more resilient and stronger economy, to create jobs in all professions across Canada. I look forward to that support from our colleagues, and I would encourage our colleagues to support the Budget Implementation Act, because that is the plan that my colleague just described. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint-Laurent. Mr. Speaker, Canadians want actual results. They are impatient. These people have been in power for 10 years, but meanwhile, the economy has gotten worse. That's the reality. Food inflation is affecting all Canadian families. We have the worst food inflation in the G7. The minister knows that. He should be ashamed. The Bank of Canada has stated that businesses are delaying their expansion plans, and investment will be low. When will this government take concrete measures and lead to real good results for Canadian families? The Honourable Minister of Industry. Mr. Speaker, as my colleague knows very well, we have a plan, and that plan is called the Budget Implementation Act. For too long, we've been seeing obstruction from the other side, from the Conservatives. During this difficult time, where we know that geopolitics are going through a difficult period, we know that Canadians throughout the country are facing financial difficulties. They expect us to work together. Will the Conservatives vote in favor of the budget? Yes or no? The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Le Fjord. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised that Canada would see the strongest growth in the G7. 1 year later, nothing has been done to reduce red tape, and no anti-development laws have been repealed. On the contrary, the obstacles are only getting worse. According to Bloomberg, the Canadian economy is now in a recession, and people can feel that. Will the Prime Minister finally bring in a plan which will enable Canadians to build, invest, and work? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, what people in the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean and elsewhere in Quebec and Canada want is a plan, an economic plan, the Prime Minister's plan, the plan they voted for, the plan that is currently before this House. The Conservatives are constantly blocking this Prime Minister's economic plan. We are urging them to cooperate with us. We succeeded with C-19. We can help Canadians. And we are urging them to pass Bill C-15 and the Budget Implementation Act, the Prime Minister's plan to build Canada. The Honourable Member for Terrebonne. Mr. Speaker, February is Black History Month, which is an opportunity to pay tribute to the Black Canadians who have built our country and shaped our future. This is the 30th anniversary of the official recognition of Black History Month, and the theme is honoring Black brilliance across generations, from nation builders to tomorrow's visionaries. Can the Minister tell the House why it is important every February to celebrate Black History Month and how the government is promoting it throughout the country? The Honourable Minister of Identity and Culture. Well, first of all, I would just like to state that the member herself, who was elected in Terrebonne and has made history herself by becoming the youngest Black MP in the history of Canada. That is a remarkable accomplishment. As she eloquently said, this year we are once again celebrating Black excellence, Black community. We are supporting 85 initiatives to fight racism and support the Black community. Black history is Canada's history.
Member for Foothills.
It is wild to hear the Foreign Affairs Minister claim that they support science when the Liberals are literally attacking agricultural research. They are shutting down research centres in Lacombe, Indian Head, Guelph, Quebec City, Portage-la-Prairie, and Cumberland County. Meanwhile, they spend $19 billion on consultants, $33 million on a prison farm, $22 million on beans for women for empowerment in Congo. Why is the Prime Minister dismantling the foundation of Canadian food security just to fund his foreign virtue signaling?
Right on.
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear. Science plays an integral role and will continue to play an integral role in this country for agriculture and agri-food. Mr. Speaker, we are maintaining our research and development presence in every single province, and the department continues to be the largest science service center in this country with 17 sites.
That's right.
By streamlining our research, we are prioritizing high-impact areas, reducing duplication, and better aligning our needs with our ranchers and farmers across this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Regina Capel.
They're not maintaining, they're cutting and shutting. Workers at the Indian Head Agricultural Research Farm are the latest to lose their jobs thanks to this Liberal government. This research centre provides cutting-edge innovation on soil management, crop varieties, and disease and pest resiliency. It provides jobs for Canadian scientists, improves Canadian crop production to the benefit of Canadian farmers. Meanwhile, the Liberals have sent hundreds of millions of Canadian tax dollars overseas for stupid, ideologically driven pet projects like $8 million for gender-just rice farming in Vietnam. Instead of closing Canadian research centres that benefit Canadians, why not stop the phony foreign aid project?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if that member's memory serves him correct, but I'll go back to 2011 and 2012. That may jog his memory a little bit. A focused agriculture research presence should move away from scattered, soiled research, siloed projects, and toward a mission-driven, outcome-oriented system that treats food production as a cornerstone of national security economic resilience, and climate adaptation. This is what we're hearing from our stakeholders. We're going to move agriculture forward, and we're going to make science and research a big part of it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Ponoka-Dinsmore.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals have repeatedly told Canadians to trust the science, but now they're firing the very scientists who help feed Canadians. The government is shutting down 7 agriculture research centres across Canada, including the storied one in Lacombe. Meanwhile, the Liberals will waste $742 million on a gun grab that police say will do nothing. $742 million would keep the Lacombe Research Station open for 40 years. With 2.2 million Canadians lining up at the food bank every month, why is this government so hell-bent on wasting cash on programs that experts say will not work and killing the programs that the experts say will?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Mr. Speaker, from talking to stakeholders across this country, we have a real opportunity to even advance our research, and we'll continue to do that. The department continues to be the largest agriculture research in Canada, but this opportunity for transformation in the research sector is most prominent in our agriculture and agri-food divisions, Mr. Speaker. We're going to continue to invest in agriculture and agri-research, partner with our academias, talk to our stakeholders, and move forward with the best science in the world as we have today.
That's great. The Honourable member for Carleton.
Mr. Speaker, residents in my riding of Carleton want to know what this government is doing to improve affordability. There is good news, Mr. Speaker. Can the Secretary of...
Wait. But the member is attracting all kinds of extraneous noise there. Maybe we'll let the member start from the top.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Residents of my riding of Carleton are looking for serious leadership. They're also wanting to see what this government is doing to improve affordability in this country. There's good news, Mr.
Can't hear a thing. Can't hear a thing. I wanted to get out of here early today. Okay, we'll try again. We're making progress. The Honourable member for Carleton from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. This is why Conservatives keep losing. Residents in Carleton want to know what this government is doing to improve the affordability of food. There is good news, Mr. Speaker. Can the Secretary of State for CRA and financial institutions please inform this House of important measures the government is taking to improve affordability for Canadians?
The Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, it's so nice to finally see real representation in Carleton. Conservative slogans don't feed families. That's why we cut taxes for 22 million Canadians. We cut the consumer carbon tax, and last week we announced a groceries and essentials benefit that will put up to $1,900 in the pockets of working families. It's time for that party, that leader, to stop the rhetoric, stop the slogans, and join us to build Canada strong. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Swift Current Grasslands Kindersley.
Speaker, the Prime Minister has admitted that a country that cannot feed itself has few options. However, this Liberal government's closing 7 agriculture research facilities. The research and development has a 35-to-1 return on investment for taxpayers. It's also crucial for growing crops to feed Canada and the rest of the world, despite our harsh climate. With 2.2 million Canadians lining up at food banks every month, does the Prime Minister seriously think that it's a good idea to cut valuable research into how we can grow more food here in Canada?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Mr. Speaker, we've heard when I've traveled around the country, I've heard many times that we can do better in research and development. We'll continue to build on that, Mr. Speaker. We'll listen to the professionals in this regard, Mr. Speaker. We're not going to go down the path, Mr. Speaker, of not having science in this country. It's extremely important to our trade, Mr. Speaker. It's extremely important to our agriculture and agri-food communities, and we're going to continue to build on that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
successive Liberal and Conservative governments have bungled fighter jet procurement for decades. Now, with Donald Trump threatening Canada's sovereignty and our NATO allies, New Democrats call on the Prime Minister to cancel all F-35 contracts and commit to purchasing the Swedish Saab Gripen. The Prime Minister promised to make Canada less reliant on American military. Will the Prime Minister make the switch, or does his Davos speech mean nothing?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Speaker, as part of our generational investments in the Canadian Armed Forces, we are procuring a new fleet of fighter aircraft for the Royal Canadian Air Force. We review all procurement approaches to align with the best interests of Canadians and the needs of the Canadian Armed Forces. We are committed to procuring what the Air Force needs while ensuring economic benefits for Canadians. And that is exactly what we'll do.
I wish to draw the attention of members to the presence in the gallery of the Honourable Kelly Green, Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness of British Columbia. It being 3:14, the House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the motion of Mr. Berthold relating to the business of supply. Call in the members.